Good morning, everybody. Great pleasure to be here with you. It would be better face-to-face, but we have our limitations at the moment. Dart Mining, I'm the executive chairman of Dart Mining, have been for about 6 years, since 2015. The company has been listed on the ASX since May 2007. The original idea of listing Dart Mining and raising capital was to exploit the historic gold fields of the northeast of Victoria. And that still remains one of our objectives, but we have since discovered through exploration a great deal more than just the historic gold fields of northeast Victoria. So we'll get it underway. A quick walk through our corporate directory, stock code DTM, number of shares on issue, roughly 100 million shares, giving us at 11 cents around a $11 million market cap, which in my view is extremely heavily discounted and very cheap versus our peers, very, very cheap. Our board's comprised of myself, a guy called Carl Swenson. Carl Swenson is a very interesting guy. He's our probably the strongest guy on our board technically. Carl was chief geologist for Normandy Mining, which is one of Australia's great mining success stories. Carl had 200 geologists working for him, and he used to set the strategy for Normandy as to what they were doing. That is amongst a whole raft of other things that he's done during his career. He's very accomplished. Dennis Clark was with various mining companies, including Plutonic over in Western Australia. Dennis has been on the board for about 4 years, very, very strong technically, and I think has given Dart a good direction on chasing scale projects. So on the management side, on the top right corner, we have Carl Swenson, who basically oversees our other geologists and technical people. The head of exploration at Dart Mining is Dr. Ben Hines, who's a qualified geochemist, and which is very important in our part of the world, given the types of mineralisation that we have up there, and also the sort of targets that we're chasing. So, and Mr. Scott Trutwine, he's a project geologist, works on the ground. Scott spends a lot of time on the rigs and that sort of thing. Dean Turnbull, who's actually a founder of the company, and he consults to us. He knows the company very well. Rightio. So this slide is a summary of Dart's projects. I think the important thing to understand is that we have 3 exploration strategies. One is in what we call orogenic gold. So that is the 9 historic gold fields that sit within our tenements. The second strategy is around porphyry deposits. And the third one is around our lithium prospects, which contain a raft of other metals as well. But this slide really just summarises all of the projects that we're currently looking at and working on. Okay, so just a summary of each of those 3 strategies. Dart Mining was the first company to discover lithium on the east coast of Australia, hard rock lithium on the east coast of Australia. We have a corridor which is approximately 60 kilometres long and about 15 kilometres wide that contains all of the lithium pegmatites within it. So far, we have counted literally around 3,000 lithium pegmatites. So we spent quite a lot of time on our lithium strategy back in 2016, 2017, 2018. We defined the area. We established what is called a fractionation index, which basically points towards it's a method by which you understand where the highest grade pegmatites are sitting. And we've established all of that. We reactivated our exploration activities around lithium about 6 months ago, and we've got a drilling program coming up on our lithium pegmatites in November, December this year before Christmas. So we're active in the field. Okay, the other thing that I think is very interesting about our lithium prospectivity is that beyond lithium, we have a range of other elements present, including tin, including tantalum, tungsten, niobium, antimony, and also some evidence, although early stage, and we need to understand a lot more about it, in the rare earth elements. So the best sampling results that we've had across 10 metres on what we call the hollow way dike, we had 1.37% lithium oxide and 10 metres at 0.94% lithium oxide on the Eagle dike, both of which are spodumene. And we've also had tin and tungsten mineralisation up around those areas too. So earlier on this year, we conducted a LiDAR survey, and the LiDAR survey is designed to, it's literally airborne survey using laser to measure the, or not to measure, but to identify outcrops and other landforms as you fly over it. So what the LiDAR survey has done for us is identify a very large number of new dikes that we did not know existed. And it's also identified extensions on dikes that we had previously mapped, but we hadn't seen the extensions. And that's really significant. It means that there is a lot more what we call ground truthing, or there's a lot more prospectivity there than we had first thought. The other thing that is significant on this tenement in respect of lithium and other associated metals is the tin prospectivity. Earlier on, about 18 months ago, we put it in an application over an area called the Walwa Tin Mine. The Walwa Tin Mine was an operating mine up until 1975 and closed in 1975 as a result of very low tin prices. So we have done some sampling there recently, just surface sampling to try to understand what sort of grades were being carried, and it looks very good. We need to do a lot of work there, but the tin price is fantastic, and I'll come later on in the presentation to the commodity prices and the exposures that Dart has. Second in our strategies, if you like, which I talked about on the summary page, is our Dart's Porphyry Prospectivity. Now, this morning, Dart released an announcement on the stock exchange about our Granite Flat project. You'll see on this slide that is the third project down. It is what we believe is a large intrusion-related porphyry deposit carrying copper and gold. Steph, I'm just holding this up. This is the release that we put out this morning, that Dart put out this morning. I'm not sure whether or not you will have a chance to translate some of that, but that release from Dart's perspective is one of the best releases that we have ever put out. What it's pointing towards is a bulk tonnage, a very large deposit of relatively low grade copper and gold. But 70% of the world's copper comes out of porphyry deposits, and that's what we think we've got here. So obviously it's reasonably early, and the results that came out this morning were geophysical. So we conducted a geophysics survey across 16 kilometres of lines to test for resistivity and also chargeability. And I know this all gets a bit technical, but believe me, the results from this are absolutely fantastic, pointing towards at least 9 large copper gold targets, about 200 to 400 metres below surface, below where we have been drilling. And the results that we've had from drilling at Granite Flat have been really quite stunning so far. And it appears as though we are just on the edge of it. Just running through this slide to give you indications of other porphyry potential on Dart Mining. Down the second from the bottom is a project called Mount Unicorn. Mount Unicorn is a molybdenum, copper, silver, zinc deposit. It is a porphyry deposit. There's been an awful lot of money spent on Mount Unicorn over the years. It was discovered in 2008. We shelved the project in 2014 because of the very bad molybdenum price. So the price of molybdenum went from $45 a pound down to $4.50. It has since this year, the molybdenum price has climbed sharply, and it is currently trading at about $25 a pound. It's doubled in price over a 12-month period. If that continues to increase in price, we will be looking to resume exploration activities on Mount Unicorn. Mount Unicorn is currently 200 million tonnes in resource, both indicated and inferred, and is one of the largest deposits of molybdenum in resource in the world. Apart from Mount Unicorn and Granite Flat, there has not been a lot of work, apart from geochemical work through soil sampling, with minimal drilling on any of the other porphyry projects. However, it is unusual to find porphyry projects outcropping at surface, and that's what we have here in our portfolio. From our lithium and strategic metals exploration pipeline, you start over on the left-hand side here where my cursor is. That shows you what we call the work area. That gives you this next line here gives you the exploration lease number, and then how we kind of divide the projects up internally. And you can see that there's a great deal in the Dorchap project here. You've got a number of different lithium dikes, basically, that we have done work on, and we're continuing to do work on those. So that's on the lithium and strategic metals. On the porphyry exploration, you can see out on the right-hand side here, you've got Mount Unicorn, which is in a inferred and indicated resource. So it's the most advanced. We have copper quarry in Mount Morgan, where there's been drilling done. In fact, Granite Flat, or Empress, actually sometimes called Empress down here, we should actually move that across into target testing, because that's exactly what we're doing on it at the moment. And on the orogenic gold exploration pipeline, again, that just gives you an idea of the enormity of the projects that we have in our portfolio. And what we're trying to do is move all of them along at an equal pace, although most of the company's resources are currently being focused into the lithium and also into Granite Flat, the copper gold porphyry. Okay, so just to give you a very brief overview of the Granite Flat project, we say that it is a lode gold deposit with porphyry potential, but I think that we've moved beyond that description with that release this morning. It is most definitely a porphyry and an intrusive, a bulk tonnage deposit, and we need to do more and more drilling on it. Based on the geophysical results that we reported this morning, there is tremendous potential for a very large scale mine discovery. Rightio, so just a very quick summary of drilling to date. This was a program that was completed in December 2020. The significant downhole intercepts on the drilling were probably the 19 metres of gold at 9.39 grams, and the significant, probably the most significant copper from our perspective, while we're looking at it as a bulk tonnage prospect was 45 metres at 0.12, but 9 metres of copper at 0.61 copper and 3 metres at 1.52 copper are extremely good grades. Okay, so I discussed earlier the Porphyry Potential, but again, based on the release that we put out this morning, we are dealing with a porphyry deposit. With porphyry deposits, you get bulk tonnage. The best example of a porphyry in Australia at the moment is the Cadia mine out at Orange in New South Wales. And that is actually Australia's biggest gold mine. Cadia produces around 1.2 million ounces per year at a grade of less than 1 gram a tonne. And it is still Newcrest mining one of their most profitable projects. Photos there are of on the left-hand side are an RC rig that drilled up until recently our deepest hole at 184 metres. On the top right-hand side, the photograph is Dart Mining's own diamond drill rig, which is capable of drilling down to about 650 metres, which is a perfect rig for us in a porphyry setting where you really need to drill deep. And the photographs at the bottom are of the guys doing the 16 kilometres of IPMT geophysical program survey that we just completed. Okay, I'll come on to our second kind of flagship gold project, which is called Buckland. We did some RAB drilling late last year and earlier on this year. We've taken nearly 8,000 soil samples across the area at surface for geochemical analysis, and we have found disseminated gold, which is basically gold that is invisible to the eye, but nevertheless still present in soil samples at surface along a 17.5 kilometre strike length. So, and it remains open to the south. So the Buckland Gold Project, any exploration company would be happy to have just the Buckland Gold Project on its own. It is an exceptionally good and highly prospective gold project. It is a long strike, as you can see on that map. You've got these recurring pods of high-grade gold. And some of those are historic mines. And out from these high-grade pods, we get this disseminated gold in what are called stacked shear zones. So that's just a very quick summary of some of the intercepts that we had last year in the fairly small program that we put over Buckland. But Dart also drilled this prospect back in 2008, and we know that the gold mineralisation is extending down to about 260 metres depth. So it's a very large potential deposit. I'll move quickly over the Rushworth Gold Project. That's out in central Victoria. It's about 45 kilometres northeast of the Fosterville mine, which some of you may know. Fosterville is a mine owned by Kirkland Lake Gold in Canada, was the highest grade producing mine in the world last year. They produced over 1 ounce per tonne of material and produced, I think, for the year about 600,000 ounces. Rushworth is part of that geology. It is an old gold field, and Dart we were early to get this ground. You'll see that everyone's pegged around us pretty much, including Fosterville South and Ngambie. We've got Kalamazoo and Chalice, and to the west of our ground, we've got Newmont have pegged quite a large section. Okay, so just onto the scheduled work that we have that we have planned through until the end of next year, 2022. So for the second half of 2021, which is we're about in the middle of that right now, We've completed the geophysical survey. We put out the interpretation on that this morning in that release. The survey, the release, I think, is, as I said earlier, one of the best releases that Dart Mining has ever put out in terms of exploration and prospectivity. We have a diamond drill operating up at Granite Flat right now. We've got some more RC drilling to do at Granite Flat before. So the Glen Wills lithium pegmatites, we need to do some low impact RC drilling there onto a couple of particular dikes. We need to do some more mapping and sampling down there. And as a result, as I mentioned earlier as well, as a result of the LiDAR acquisition earlier on this year, we have a tremendous amount of what we call ground truthing to do. In other words, going out and inspecting targets which have turned up from the LiDAR. And pretty much the same kind of work we're going to be doing on the S-style lithium pegmatites between now and the end of the year. In the first half of 2022, we are aiming to do some low impact diamond drilling with our own rig, as well as some RC drilling down at Buckland. We will continue drilling on our lithium pegmatites, both at S-style and down at Glen Wills. There is additional mapping and sampling there as a result of new targets that we've been able to identify through the LiDAR. We would hope, depending on how we go for time, that we will get some drilling done on our Mountain View orogenic gold project, which is up near a place called Corryong. There is actually a very small gold resource on Mountain View, and it's under a mining license. We've been restricted access there for a long time as a result of the fires that went through the region in the beginning of 2020. But yeah, so if we can fit in some drilling in the first half up at Mountain View, that'd be good. And we will do some more mapping and sampling up at the Walwet tin mine. So in the second half of next year, we would hope to get down to Buckland and continue with some drilling. We've got some RC and diamond drilling to do down there. Essentially, what we'll be working on and through will be the Granite Flat Gold and the Glen Wills and S-style lithium pegmatites. They are the priority projects for us. And Mountain View and Buckland and Walwa are secondary. So whatever time we need to spend on Granite Flat and on the lithium pegmatites, we'll be doing that. Okay, so this table is just a table of our tenements. You'll notice that most of those are exploration licenses or exploration licenses in application. There is another class of license called retention license. So they're all in good standing, as we say. So summary points. Dart has a very commanding tenement position in one of the most highly mineralised regions of the entire country. Our total land tenement area is around 6,000 square kilometres. We have multiple commodity exposures, including those that we've already discussed, being gold, silver, copper, zinc, molybdenum, lithium, tantalum, niobium, tungsten, I could go on, tin. And each of these metals has very, very strong tailwinds. So Dart is well positioned in terms of its commodity exposures. We are logistically independent. We have an in-house drilling capability, and we operate out of a transportable camp that we can move all over the northeast of Victoria. It is very important. These items are very important because operating within a COVID environment where you have borders closing and opening and closing again and that sort of thing has been really difficult moving personnel around. So most of our staff is sourced, in fact, all of it at the moment is sourced in Victoria. So we're not exposed to these border closures and things, which we have been in the past and has been a disruptive. Dart Mining is very experienced in the state of Victoria. Mining law is a state legislated law, and so we're very experienced operating in Victoria, and we enjoy very, very good relationships with government and the mining regulator, and we have enjoyed that for 16 or 17 years now. Our footprint, our exploration footprint, is 99.9% on Crown land or government-owned land, often within state forests, which are subject to logging and all sorts of other primary activities. And very importantly, all of our tenements are substantially away from local communities. And look, the last point that I would make is that we have an exceptional team of people, both technical and operational, and we have a very good board as well. We're very transparent. We operate very cheaply compared to a lot of our competitors, and we operate very independently. And those factors in this COVID environment are incredibly important. To be able to operate a rig and keep the rig turning under our own internal resources is a terribly important factor in exploration going forward, is my view. So thank you very much, everyone, for looking today or taking the time out to listen to me. And look, I would encourage anyone via 61Financial, if you have questions, if you would like to speak to me directly, I'd be very happy to do that.